Welcome to episode 5 of the YYC Real Estate Show. It's April 20th. Here we got Shiraz, Zach, and Sebastian, myself, and today we got Pablo.
Hey, everybody.
Very special guest. So yeah, Shiraz, take it off.
Weekly update for everyone as usual. In the last 7 days, there was a whopping 719 firm sales in the city of Calgary. 337 detached, 77 attached, 179 condos, and 126 townhouses. Leading the charge was Upper Mount Royal, 3.667 million. So a very nice one, 6 bedrooms, big house. So Calgary has quite a spread. We talked about it last week. I think the lowest one last week was 125,000, and the highest last week was just over.
I think it was in the
3 million.
3 million. Yeah, just over 3
I
million.
bought that house.
Yeah. There you go.
So still a very, very strong seller's market. We're still seeing competing offers. You have to be at that perfect price. If you overprice yourself, you're going to be one of those few that are still hanging on the market. If you price right and catch the curve, as Pablo has explained many times to us, you will be in a competing offer situation. So still an exciting time. If you're on the fence about listing your home and waiting for a good time, this could be the perfect time for you. With that out of the way, do you want to talk about your listings?
I do. I want to talk about the open house I'm going to be at Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 5 at 3719 16th Street Southwest. It's a 3-bed, 4.5 bath, super cool place. It's in construction right now, so don't wear anything that you don't want to get dusty. But it's at $769,000. Like I said, 3-bed, 4.5 bath. Really nice, cool loft, rooftop patio, the heart of Altador, beautiful area here in Calgary. So again, I'll be there from Saturday, Sunday from 2 to 5. I have a listing coming up in Cochrane, Sunset Ridge. That's 13 Sun Valley Road. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath townhouse built in 2016, so fairly new. We're going to be listed at $424,900, and that should be on the market on Monday. So that's what is up for me right now.
Nice. And if anyone wants to meet me in person, I will be at 2819 36th Street in Killarney. A new build, side by side, both are available. $890,000. Excited to have a new builder on our roster, Tricor. So excited about that. Come and visit me if you're in the Killarney area this weekend. I'm there every weekend for a while until I sell them.
Same with me. It's about 5 minutes away from his, so you can do one or the other. I'd prefer you come to me first, but no.
Sebastian, where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Montgomery at 4611 20th Ave. It's a show home for 8 other duplexes that we're selling in the area. Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots of selection, lots of inventory there. So if you're looking for something specific, I probably got it. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Well, Pablo is our esteemed guest today, so we want to introduce him one more time. This is Pablo Galvez, one of our mentors at the Green Group. And I want to start, and I had a lot of questions for you, and I thought, well, why not ask here on the podcast, who is Pablo Galvez? Start from the beginning.
Who am I, boy? Yeah, well, I've been in Calgary since I was 1.5 years old, little baby, and now 48, but living in BC right now, but... Yeah, I've grown up and known Calgary from the 70s and the 80s and all the way through the 2000s, et cetera. And, went to Crescent Heights High School, went to university for 2 years, did engineering, realized very quickly I'm not an engineer.
UFC?
I went to UFC, did engineering for 2 years. I think the passing grade was 2.0 in order to move on to the next year.
Yeah,
and at the end of my second year, I had 2.01. I was really walking the fine line of passing or failing, and I said, okay, maybe this isn't for me, and took a gap year and skied and partied my brains out for a year, and went to SAIT and did engineering, drafting, and design, which was more architecture, design, land development, which I loved. Got me into working with a survey company that did engineering and planning, and so I worked with like Hopewell and some of the big developers and did planning and engineering drawings for them. So I did Elbow Valley Phase 1 and Phase 2, the very original Elbow Valley. I did the drawings. I saw it all being created. It was really cool and kind of got me the bug for real estate, and went into some other industries. And at one point after the global financial collapse, I ended up saying, these realtors are selling houses and they're making money even when the market's down. And I said, I got to be a realtor. So switched gears and became a real estate agent. the rest is history.
What year was that you became a real estate agent?
2010.
2010.
Okay.
Yeah, mid 2010. So that was a very tough market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the financial collapse had happened and people were in safety mode. If I don't sell, if I don't buy, I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to, get hurt. And so it was just a real big job even trying to find motivated buyers and sellers. It was really tough.
Now, were you able to sell anything that you helped plan in Elbow Valley?
Yeah, we ended up selling a ton of homes in Elbow Valley.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty neat to see, when that started, it was a topography map, like a topographical map of the land with the lines for topography. And it was just this bare chunk of land that Hopewell had bought.
Mm-hmm.
And Roberto Binda, who was the planner at the time, he's just a super smart guy. And I remember him just kind of having this map on not a map, it was like a piece of land. And he just overlaid a piece of vellum, which is like the see-through paper.
Mm-hmm.
And he just started drawing, like with a pencil, this road. And he just said, like, we could just go like this along the lines of the curvatures of the earth. And he would just draw this road. And that became the roads in Elbow Valley. And I thought,
Wow.
what a brilliant thing. It's like you're playing God with the land.
Yeah.
You're going to be there forever.
Yeah. Put your footprint on that area.
It was really fascinating to see how that comes around. He's like, oh, we'll do a little cul-de-sac off of here. And then, it's like, oh, scrap that. Let's try it again. And they put a new sheet down and they start doing that. And then they would give that to me and say, draw it, make it happen, right? And I would be like, okay. And I'd start drawing it out and drafting it. And we did some early stuff. I know this is like off topic, but we did some pretty cool early stuff. This is probably 1997, 1998 kind of range. And we would take then what Roberto had drawn out, and we would take the survey points and the data that they'd given us, and we'd do a 3D map of the land, right? And then we'd take an aerial photograph and we would drape that aerial photograph over the 3D map. This is called Google Earth now. Like it happens like this, right? But this is before Google Earth and Street Views and all these things. We would these like 3D maps so they could actually like turn it virtually on the computer and see these 3D
You should have put
maps.
a patent on that. You would have.
Yeah, I know, right? And sell it to Google.
Yeah, sell it to Google.
I wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
And this is it's not like we have to stay on a certain topic. This is the YYC Real Estate Show. We do start by giving all the viewers the weekly updates on what's happening.
Yeah.
But we are excited when we have a guest, and we really want to get to know the guest. So feel free that there's no agenda here. So which is why I wanted to brush on. You mentioned skiing. So talk to us about your passions. Obviously, skiing is probably one of them.
I love to go skiing. I ski up at Whistler every week and have a blast doing that. It's good to be close to there, and I like to mountain bike in the summer. So those are my passion activities. But like really, my biggest passion, honestly, is work. I love working on the team, and I love being a real estate agent. And it's I think this market, any market, like if I was a buyer or seller right now, I'd be kind of questioning whether, of course, the classic question is a good time to buy or a good time to sell, and it really depends on what you want to do. And I often tell, like, right now as a seller, what a great position to be in, right? Like the people that you guys are helping list and sell their homes, what a great position to be in, because it's a little bit of a seller's market, right? It's definitely swayed to that way. The inventory's low. Prices are kind of creeping up a little bit right now, which is nice. And we're seeing multiple offers in many cases. And it's a good position to be in. But if you're selling and you got to buy, it's tough,
You're
right?
back to the square one, basically, there.
So that's when you look at, like, people on our team. We've got off-market listings. We've got upcoming listings that aren't on MLS yet. And it's a great opportunity for people who are buying to kind of maybe find something that's a little off-market, or we door knock sometimes and just find something, right?
Yeah.
And then as a buyer, it's going to be a little bit more challenging right now to buy a home, but think long-term. Are you going to be selling the home the next year or two?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep this home for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years? And if, you might have to bite the bullet and pay a little bit more, and it's going to feel like you're overpaying a little bit sometimes, but you're going to get the home that you want to, either raise your kids or spend time with your spouse or whatever, grow a new life in, right? So what's that worth to you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
Yeah. Well, I think as an agent, and you guys could probably talk about this, it's a really fun market to be in. With the seller, it's cool to bring a market analysis and present them numbers that they didn't even think was maybe possible last year, let alone when they bought the house. So it's cool to reward them with that, especially when it sells. They get to have that little bit of profit, or maybe a lot, depending on where they're at. And then for the buyers, like you said, it's challenging, but it also makes it that much more sweet when you finally get that house you were looking for after all the showings and finally locking things down. So I'm having fun with it. I think it's great to have that experience on both sides, and it's cool. It's cool right now. So
Yeah, it is an exciting time for me on both sides. You have to really show your value, especially when you have a buyer who sometimes is getting a little down, and you have to be their charger and tell them, don't worry, you're in good hands. So, all my fellow agents out there, work together, talk to each other. Like, I'm really adamant about getting on the phone with the other side and figuring out how we can work together and put deals together. And sometimes you have to go over and above. Like, I have to go back to 2007, 2008 when I became an agent, and I have to go to the door and talk to the clients and have my clients in my car, and I'm at the door, and I had to do that. And sometimes that's what you have to do, especially in a market like this where you're going to get 7-8 offers at once, and if you want to stand out and you want to win, you have to do what you have. You have to go over and above, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Now, are you putting no conditions when your buyer says, well, I have to put conditions?
I mean, it's all, as you guys know, you can advise as much as you can. I mean, obviously, it comes down at the end of the day that your client will do what your client wants to do, so you have to go with that. But obviously, if you're a buyer, and like we talked about last week, it's not always the highest price in the offer. It's the least conditions sometimes to make the sale firm and make everybody happy in that case. So I don't know. I think it's a fair balance. I think sometimes, if you need a financing condition, you need one. So that's the way it's going to be. Home inspections, I mean, I think if I was buying a home in a balanced market, you could say I'd probably want a home inspection. But right now, if you trust trust the process, trust the seller, maybe you take that out. So I think it's just listening to your client and kind of having those conversations. And I think a big part of our job is not only doing the work for them, but educating people. I educate myself and learn from you guys every day, and I think we can pass that information on to other people. So that's what I like.
Pablo, I understand you're a live, active real estate agent again.
I am.
Wow.
Selling some homes I'm in White Rock, BC, which is a beautiful little kind of suburby area of Surrey. Which is also a suburby area of Vancouver, so we call it the Greater Vancouver area. It's all kind of blends in when you're in the area, but we're 40 minutes or so from Vancouver proper, like to get into downtown, and it's just a beautiful spot overlooking the ocean. Everything overlooks the ocean there, and it's kind of magical. It's a little bit of a retiree community, but there's a lot of young people moving in the area now too, because it's kind of got that small town vibe and energy, but you're so close to such a huge city, so it's a really cool place.
How does the real estate in BC contrast with Alberta right now?
Wow, does it ever? It's a big contrast right now. So statistically, when the market started to adjust in the last couple months, like say since last year, the real estate sales or the number of transactions is down significantly, but more importantly, the prices have come down in Greater Vancouver across the board by 20%.
Wow.
Which is a huge adjustment. So you can imagine, like right now, if you're a Calgary homeowner, you own a house that's $600,000, it would be worth like 520 or even less, sort of 480,000. You can imagine like 20% is a big adjustment to your house value, right?
Wow.
So it's come down dramatically. Now, in the last month or so, it's kind of crept up about 5% again, so it's recovering a bit.
Okay.
Contrast that to Calgary. Since last year, single-family prices are up like almost a percentage.
It's 552 today, 552,000.
And I look at apartment condos are up like 10%, and townhomes are up almost 10%. So there's a huge contrast there. Like Vancouver area prices are down, Toronto prices are down, same. So it's fascinating to me that right now a lot of people are moving to Calgary from Toronto and Vancouver, and that happens traditionally when the economy's challenging, is that people want to go where the jobs are and where the cost of living is better, so people move to Calgary, which is causing Calgary prices to do very well and a lot of buyers, where in those markets it's a lot less. The reality is, if you guys were talking about having some sellers that are in a fortunate position, like you can go to a seller and give them a number that they haven't heard in a long time. And the reality is they could actually capitalize that and move back to BC or move to BC or to Ontario and capitalize on a really hot market, like a hot buy there. It's a buyer's market there and a seller's market here. What a perfect real estate scenario.
That's a different perspective for sure. That makes a lot of sense when you kind of talk about it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, some people purchase real estate for long term and put their roots down, and some people like to play in real estate as like stocks almost. I have clients that don't fully ever unpack. They'll buy something for a good price.
Wow.
Maybe even within the same calendar year, they're moving twice. So I've never thought
I moved
about
8 times in 8 years when we were
once a year, right? So
and that was an average, and we stayed at some houses 2 or 3 years. So we did a lot of moving in that time.
that's awesome. Wow. Sebastian, you had some questions for Pablo.
Well, no, just as a realtor, right? So how old were you when you started real estate, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it was, I got to do the math. It was around like 37,
37.
I want to say. Well, it was 2010.
13.
So, yeah, like 35.
Yeah.
So you had already purchased, bought and sold real estate before you became a real estate agent.
We had already done our own transactions.
So did you get inspired by your real estate agent that you used, or was it just something you
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh, my God. Our former real estate agent, John Papa Melly. John Melly was our realtor.
Yeah.
He's part of the Old Boys Club. That guy is so great. Tremendous real estate agent. One of the best that's ever happened. And he's a legend in this city. And I remember when Simone and I had purchased our first home together, and it was a judicial sale. Mm-hmm. It was a dumpy house in Sunnyside, little old wartime, 100-year-old century home. Yeah. And we bought it judicially, which meant that we had to make an offer without seeing it, and we had to make the offer conditional on viewing the property. So the courts accepted our offer. We went to this little old house in Sunnyside, and the owner was sitting there not happy about being, forced to sell their house. This old lady sitting at the kitchen table with a mountain of ashes of cigarette butts. A mountain, literally, I'm talking about a foot tall and wide. This mountain
collection.
Yeah, and so you can imagine what it smelled like.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
We jokingly the walls were yellow, and we called it. What do we call it? It was like a Ralph Lauren paint colored tobacco. It was but it was actually a white wall, but it was like this beautiful yellow hue to it. And so you got to plug in?
Got a little charger problem here.
Yeah. So anyways, we finally closed on this house. Simone was pregnant with our first child. We got in there and renovated everything. We had to wash the walls with TSP, which is this acid that you wash the walls with, and all the walls came white. And then we primed it with Kills, which is that latex paint. Yeah. And then we painted over top of that, and we did tile, and we redid the whole kitchen, and we gutted that place. And
like HGTV episode.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we finished it, and we had our first child, Capri, at that time. This is 2003 now, and then we decided we were going to kind of flip it and sell it because the house was so small. The master bedroom was off the kitchen. Yeah. We kind of called it it had an ensuite kitchen because it was you had to go through the kitchen to get to the only bedroom upstairs. There was a second one, but it was an office, and the bedroom was so small that we had a queen bed that fit in the room with no room to walk by either side.
Just got it and jumped.
So in order to get into my side of the bed, I had to crawl over Simone's pregnant tummy to get into the other side because she had to have the end where you could get off to go to the washroom quickly, right? So we had this little tiny crapper of a house, and we decided we were going to flip it or sell it or whatever after a year of having it, and so we said, well, who are we going to call? We didn't know anybody, and down the street there was a for sale sign that had a sold sticker. I mean, best advertising you could do as a realtor is a sign with a sold sticker on it. So we called up John Melly, and he goes, what kind of house do you have? I said, well, it's in Sunnyside. Oh, yeah, okay. What square footage? That's 800 square foot 2-bedroom bungalow. Goes, oh, okay, yeah, I'll come and see you. So he comes and does a listing presentation for us, and he goes, I got to be honest, I don't normally work in this price point. Like, I don't normally do this, but for you guys, I'll take you on as a client, kind of thing. I was like, wow, what don't we? And what a contrast for most real estate agents. It's like, would you please work with me?
Yeah.
And so we ended up buying and selling probably a dozen properties with him, $2-3 million homes. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions he made off of us, but it was a good call to take. Right?
Yeah.
John,
So
good job.
Good job, John.
Yeah.
Taking that.
But we
listing,
learned so much from John. He's a legend in the industry, and his nephew John Malik is an active agent now and a good friend of ours. Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize those two names, and I recognize them from being together. The John
Malik. Yeah, that's right.
So I know that.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Legend.
And so judicial sale, would that be considered a foreclosure in the terms of like the general?
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are a few ways, we've talked about it before, a few different what people want to call foreclosures. I mean, estate sale, a judicial sale, court of king's bench now. So many different avenues for you guys to invest in. But if you're a handyman like Pablo is, as we just found out.
Done it all, won't do it again.
Yeah. Like that.
Was that all your questions you had?
No, I didn't even ask my question.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
No, but what I was gonna ask is if you could go back and talk to yourself as a new agent, right? What's one thing you'd say do this, and what's one thing you'd say avoid this? Like, what are those two things that you'd say?
Yeah, like best thing we ever did was got a coach. We got a coach early on. It was $1,000 a month and US, and we couldn't afford it at all. And we also hired an assistant right away. So it was like crazy, maybe, to think about it in hindsight that we hired a coach and an assistant before really getting into high volume. But we knew we needed the support and help so that we could focus on doing the activities that we wanted to do. I mean, fortunately, on a team, you get kind of coaching built in, and assistance built in. But those were the two main things that I would do again for sure. I mean, other than that, there was really nothing else that I would have done differently. Like, we had a really great run in our career, sold a lot of homes, and I think that those were the two things. If I always look back and I say it was coaching and hiring an assistant right away.
Was it a gradual progression to get to a certain amount of average sales per year, or did you see it like you did all the steps? It's probably a year or 2 years, and then all of a sudden I'm selling 100 homes every year, or was it gradual, like 20, then 30? An 80.
Yeah, just to go on to that question. When was your moment that you were like, okay, like I'm good at this, like I'm starting to see like major results? What was your kind of click point?
We started talking to people, like, I won't go into the whole story, but when we started real estate, we didn't have two nickels to rub together, and we didn't even have enough money for me to get licensed. So Simone got licensed in January. I got licensed in June or July, when we could actually afford to write the exam to do it. So it was like that, we were that broke. I got a job for 6 months so we could even like float the boat, right?
Yeah.
And it was about 6 months after that it was about a year after that we got, 6 months after that we got into coaching. And very soon after that we got into like hiring an assistant and everything. And it was, as soon as we saw the opportunity, because we started to, once you get some momentum, you start talking to people and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of good at this. I think I can sell some homes, and things are happening, and I got way too many balls in the air. I'm juggling all these clients and leads and everything else, and I need to service these people better. That's when we started delegating, and we got an assistant, and also we were horrible at paperwork. Like, we're really not that great at it. And so we hired the assistant, who was also an experienced assistant that worked for another agent and already knew the process, and was like, I need to write a contract for somebody. What do I do? And my assistant said, here's the contract. Nice. Here's everything you need. Just go and get them to sign it. I said, great, no problem, right? So that was our first foray. And then as far as its growth, our first full year, so after I got licensed, and our first full year after that, we did 38 transactions together. And then we did 56, and then 70 something, and then 90 something, and then it went into the over 100 deals a year after that.
And for the general public, those are big numbers. On average, the average real estate agent sells 4 to 6 houses per year.
Yeah.
So those are big numbers.
Well, and not even just the house sales we talked about in our meeting yesterday. Like, I think 80% of realtors fail in the first 2 years. They go back to their job, and obviously, like you said, you have bills to pay if you have a family, a mortgage. So that's very impressive to kind of hear. But I mean, also we talked about like that wasn't you were working really hard. Like you were working a lot of hours and doing a lot of getting people to trust you and a lot of behind the scenes. Like obviously we're gonna have Tim and Haley Green of the Green Group coming on the next couple episodes, and then Pablo's wife Simone. But we talked about like it's not good, but for us as new agents to watch people like that now, because you don't really see the hard work that they put in early in their careers, and I think it's inspiring to kind of hear that story. So I'm motivated. I'm inspired, Pablo. So
Good.
Yes,
We can do it. You can do it.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. So yeah, and actually another question I have about. So we're gonna have Simone on, but Haley and Tim, husband and wife, working together.
Spouses who sell houses.
Spouses who sell houses. How is the progression? I'm gonna call it because obviously Simone's gonna be watching this, and she's in the other
photos.
she's in the other room. So what was the progression of your guys' business and like personal relationship? How did it?
Great question. Yeah, we always worked together in everything we did, except for when I had to go get a job for 6 months to pay the bills.
Yeah.
We always worked together, and we prefer that because we always thought it was a little weird of, say, being with a spouse and then coming home at the end of the day and going, so what did you do today? You know, how was work today? And it was like, it was fine. And you're always questioning, like, what are they actually doing and all this? And we just know all the time what the other person's doing because we're, you know, in each other's business the whole day and we work together, right? Now, we have a tremendous mutual respect for each other. So we get along really well in our work. I respect her opinion and what she has to say, and yeah, we challenge each other from time to time, but we just have a very good, I know a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, I could never work with my spouse. I could never work without my spouse. It's the opposite for me, right? So it's we work together well, we respect each other's opinions, we help each other out, and we get through things together. We, you know, when one's up, the other one's down, and you know, vice versa, and we help each other out.
I bet it's fun to be a little competitive with each other too.
We love playing games. We love being competitive, and we used to do that at open houses. We'd you know, make little games of who can get more leads at an open house, and we'd like, you know, texting each other from one open house to the other. So I just got a lead. How about you? Ooh, you little bugger. You know, and, you know, she would run out and get a lead, or she would talk to somebody. We get more aggressive with trying to get leads out of open houses because we were competing. Yeah, see who's better. Yeah, for sure. Good question.
I remember we did a really fun social building or team building, and it was a lot of fun for us to play volleyball. And Pablo was in BC where he lives, and I remember he messaged that everyone enjoy. And I think you brushed on it with me briefly that you played volleyball?
I did, yeah. I used to, I played high school, like throughout school, all the way from grade 5 through to grade 12 I played. And then going hardcore beyond that didn't appeal to me as much because I started to discover beach volleyball, and I played a lot of beach volleyball, and I ended up working at the Volley Dome in Calgary here, and which had indoor beach all season. Like you had heated sand and everything.
Oh really?
And,
So you know Don?
Heated. Oh yeah, Don Saxton, and his wife, and kids.
Shout out to Don for 4 years. He had, I was organizing a nightly for my friends, and it was networking. I actually got a lot of real estate deals out of that, but I would just organize basketball. He opened a new location, and he was able to give me like a discounted rate when one court wasn't being used, so he put the nets up. So Don's a great
family. So yeah, I played beach volleyball for years, and a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's my passion too. For sure.
I'm still waiting for that 1v1 in basketball, me and you. We're taking that. That'll be another episode of the podcast.
My money's on Zach. He's a little tall.
My money's on Shiraz.
She's good. She's good.
Sneaky guy.
Sharp shooter. Doesn't miss.
Your book bites coming.
Doesn't miss.
No, I like that.
No, that is my passion for sure. I still play. Played yesterday, so. Football was my first love, but then, genes, you get cut, you don't grow, you're fast, but size matters as well in that sport. Then I gravitated towards basketball. Didn't go farther than high school. and then just play it now recreationally, which is still a lot of fun. Stay in shape.
Yeah.
Beats running on a treadmill, get the heart up, shoot around.
Yeah.
So Seb, I have a question for you actually.
Yeah.
So I know so for everybody that doesn't know, Sebastian works very hard. He's a very good realtor. You should hit him up for any inquiries there. But besides that, you also do some investing. You do some flipping of houses.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. And me and you also have fun outside of all that together. Where do you kind of find we call it the work-life balance, but how do you kind of manage all of that? Because it's not easy to do all that.
Well, before because before I was a solo agent before I joined the Green Group, right? And my work-life balance was always a challenge because it was always like, I need to work, but I also want to make time for friends and family and whatnot. But that's one thing I found that's amazing about the Green Group is that I don't feel like I need so much as the friend social aspect of life because I got my friends here in the Green Group now, right?
I think the same way. I'm
serious. No,
I agree.
I built such a family here, I feel, right? And I'm so happy for that. I'm glad. I wish I would have done it way sooner. But apart from that, for my work-life balance / what experiences I want to go through in life and what I want to do, I love traveling, right?
Yeah.
I work, and I travel. I still have time for friends and family here, apart from the Green Group, but my big thing is travel. And when I travel, my batteries recharge. I feel like a different person.
So what's on your bucket list?
Okay, so
Travel bucket list.
I want to go to Spain.
Yeah.
I want to go to Spain. I've always
My motherland.
speak your motherland. So you speak Spanish?
Muy poco.
Muy poco. Okay. Were you born in Spain?
I was.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So when did you move to Canada? Or
I was 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little
Niños.
Pablo.
Maximus Decimus Meridius.
I want to go to Spain. Do you often go back?
No, I was 9 years old last time I was there.
Okay.
My daughters are planning to move to Spain this September.
Move.
So we're thinking of, they just got their visas and everything, and they're planning on going there and working, hanging out.
Wow.
I think they said to me that there's no good men in Canada, and they're going there to see if they can find another me.
Hey.
That's a long conversation.
Yeah, that's right another episode
about
with
what
a different backdrop of not the why I
what
see
the
real
perception of
Western
Western dating America, Canada is versus Europe and the rest of the world. I travel a lot as well. I have a lot of family and friends over there, and they come and visit here. And there is a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we won't start that.
Yeah,
We may end up back in Spain for a visit.
I imagine you have a ton of family there now.
I do. My whole father's side is still in Spain. I haven't seen them obviously in years and years, but yeah.
I would love to go on the famous when they're running with the bulls.
Oh yeah.
I would.
Would you ever do it?
I wouldn't.
No.
I was gonna the risk to reward for me. It's just I don't know. It's just not. That's like everybody that jumps out of planes and stuff. I really respect it, but it's just not
You
something
really have to have something to prove.
I'm ever gonna do. I just
Apples
don't.
chase,
I like the ground.
Zach,
You know,
check the bull,
Yeah.
My risk taking took a nosedive once I had my daughter. Now I have a son as well, so that has really changed things for me to take risks in that aspect where it could affect my health in a way. So before, let's do it. But now I think twice. So that'll change for you young gentlemen, I'm
So
sure.
Spain's on the bucket list. What else?
Spain. I want to do Europe. One of my lifetime trip goals is doing the bike trip across Europe. Right, I'd love to do that.
I'll do that with you.
Yeah. I gotta get myself a bike. I gotta learn how to ride a bike first, right? I know dirt bikes, street bikes, not so much, right? And if I'm gonna go on the Autobahn, I gotta know how to ride a bike real well. Yeah.
People
It's interesting how your goals in life change. Like my goal in life is to do a European tour on a nice yacht. I don't want a bike.
I mean, a motorized.
If there was a Peloton maybe on the boat, I could maybe do that. Maybe a motorcycle.
Do the Tour de France on the boat.
Yeah.
Well, if you got an extra ticket for that whole yacht trip, I'm in.
The YYC Real Estate Show takes yacht. I like that.
Headlines.
Yeah.
I was just finalizing my numbers last night, and every year it's like astounding how much we spend as real estate agents on fuel. All day long, we're all over the province. I'm not even going to say just Calgary, doing showings. So I've always considered and wondered, well, what's a smart way to handle that. You know, electric cars is a very, very prominent thing now. So I'm sure we all have thought about it. I was excited to see firsthand for the first time. I've never seen someone summon their vehicle.
That was the
with
coolest
Tesla.
thing I've seen in.
So Tesla's.
Bring up the clip.
yeah.
Yeah,
I wish.
recorded.
Yeah, no. It's for anybody that's a bit lost. What we're talking about, we were walking out to the parking lot the other day, and Pablo has a Tesla, and there's a come to me feature. It summons the car, and I wanted to see it in person, and he goes on his phone, and the thing it pulls out by itself and does a little self check to make sure it doesn't get hit, and pulls up right beside him. I think
It came up fast.
Yeah.
It was kind of accelerating fast in the parking
Yeah,
lot.
I think you're
It's nerve-wracking.
yeah, that's hilarious.
How was your experience with Tesla?
Yeah, a little background. I've been a Tesla owner since 2013, so long.
that's
long
early
time.
Tesla,
That's
isn't it?
early.
Yeah.
Yep. It was when the first dual motor came out. That's when I bought that P85D at the time. And I've had, this is my 5th Tesla now. I've had all of them: the S, the X, the 3, and the Y.
Wow.
I love them. I love electric cars in general. I'm a car guy by heart, and I love engines and motors and the sound of exhaust and all that, or the sound of the engines and everything. But nothing beats this as an experience for driving. It's I think if I were to buy a gas car ever again, it would be like an old classic car, you know.
Yeah.
But none of the new ones appeal to me.
And you drove here from BC, right?
Yeah.
How was that drive with the electric car?
It was great.
Lots of stops.
I mean,
Yeah, any
so many
charging?
benefits. Like, yeah, you have supercharging all the way, and it's like plug and play. It's so easy. Just like pull up, plug the thing in, and we would stop on average 10, maybe 15 minutes to charge every time. It's like email break, gotta go pee,
Yeah.
grab a quick
You
snack.
stop doing that filling gas anyways.
Oh,
like, it's the same.
Yeah, so usually it's like the car tells you, you've got enough to go, and I'm like, I'm not ready. Still relaxing here, you know?
And do you use the auto, like self-driving on this?
Oh,
highway?
yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah? It's good here in Canada?
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen someone use it here.
No, it's super good. Yeah, it's not perfect. Like I was using it today with Simone, and it's like there's still the odd time it late breaks, or it just makes you a little nervous. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking. First of all, when you see the car driving itself and the steering wheel's moving, and
that was good. The video I
pedals,
took, it was crazy.
you're coming up to stop traffic, and it's like, is it going to stop, or am I just going to plow into these people today? Right.
Yeah.
So that part's nerve-wracking, but once you get over that, it's a blast.
So since you've had all 4, and I follow Elon Musk, and he's a funny guy. He has a weird sense of humor.
Oh,
So
he does, yeah.
he chose those letters for his vehicles, and he's just like, it's S, then the E, then so he said it's sexy. the 4 cars he has. Because the Model 3 is like, you consider that an E.
Well, you know, it was supposed to be the Model E, right? First.
Yeah.
And Ford sued Tesla because they had a patent on a Model E.
Wow.
And so Tesla famously changed it to a 3, and then Elon publicly said that Ford killed sex.
Yeah.
Because the Y wasn't out yet, so it was just supposed to be S3X, right? It was supposed to be SE and X.
Yeah.
And then the Y came out, it became sexy, and then of course the Roadster's next, so it'll be sexier.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it'd be a high or sexiest or something.
I wonder if they're gonna have those semi trucks that I saw a YouTube video on.
Those
Oh,
cyber
probably
trucks
for that
or
industry.
something?
No, not the cyber trucks. The actual like semi.
Yeah, the semi's out. It's in production, and they're like Pepsi has a bunch, and Frito-Lay or whatever.
really?
They have a bunch out there on the road right
That's
now.
awesome.
Wow.
Zach's gonna get rid of his truck, get a nice.
Well, speaking of electric cars and talking about realtors driving, I have a truck for sale. 2012 F-150.
Always a sales guy.
Yeah, we always try to sell. So
He can only show 2
if I
houses,
get a buyer from this podcast, I'll discount it $100 off the final sale price. So that's
There's a deal.
yeah.
Jump on that.
Not 0.5%. Remember?
No.
No percent. $100. So.
Remember, it's $100.
Yeah, 100. Yeah,
Not $100.
100. Yeah. So that's.
$100. What would you do with that? You could go for dinner.
I would take
That
I would take
$100.
Shiraz and Sad for dinner.
There you go.
Oh,
So
thanks.
no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't.
No,
No, no, maybe Pablo.
You said you had all 4. Did you have the X with those like gull wings?
Falcon wing doors they're
Yeah.
called, because they open like a hinge. They go up and then out.
Wow.
So that in a parking lot they could still open.
You could park less than 30 centimeters, so 1 foot away from another car, like a minivan could be a foot away from the car, and it will still open those doors up and then out over top of it. It's crazy.
So having all four, your favorite's the S?
Well, I bought an S, so yeah, like it really depends. Like each one has its place. The Model Y for most people, I think, is probably the overall best because it's a compact SUV. It's got all the functionality, the full flat seats, all that stuff, and capacity. Probably the best for most people. The Model 3 is fun and zippy, and if you get the performance model, which is only like $5,000 more, it's probably by far the best deal that you can get. That thing is like a BMW M3 on steroids. It's incredible. Like the handling's great, the performance is great.
Wow.
It's a beautiful little car. The X is amazing for the doors, and the front windshield goes all the way up over top, and it's road trip beast. It's amazing. And the Model S is to me just a badass sedan. And
it looks clean. That black it looks clean. Oh, it's good.
How's the resale value for the Teslas? I've always wondered that.
I've never lost money on one of my cars. That being said, timing is everything, and like right now, car values are going down again. Like they were up last year, so. I'd probably take a loss if I had to sell my car today, but my first Model S, the famous story is I was about 2 years into my lease, and I went to Tesla and I said, I'm thinking of a Model X instead of a Model S. And they said, well, yeah, we can probably do like a trade-in. And I'm like, I know how these trade-ins work, right? Like they're going to hose you and say, well, you need to, you're leasing the car right now, so you got to come up with, $5,000 or $10,000, and then you can buy into this one, right? And they said, well, we can buy back your car and we'll give you $19,000, and then you can get into a Model X lease, which is actually less than my Model S. And I said, wait a second, you're going to pay me $19,000? Here you go, take your car. Yeah, so that's awesome. When I moved into a Model X.
Nice.
Did you invest in Tesla too?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
See, I invested in Neo. That didn't go very well for me. That was a while ago.
That's why you always go with the best. Right?
That's true. That's true.
You could list with the green group, or you can go with the B team.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't work out that well.
I like that. That's true.
And touching on that it's a big difference. I had a long time in this industry on my own, looked for a happy home, and I'm proud to say I finally found it. And it is a world of difference, not only for myself, but for clients out there. You truly do get what you pay for. This is a full premium group. We offer a lot of value. We almost guarantee a sale for you if you take our advice. Right, it's really about price.
We do guarantee a sale for you. It's a guarantee. I guarantee we will sell your home.
Yeah.
And why do I say that? Because if it doesn't sell, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a guarantee. It's going to cost you $0 if it doesn't sell.
I was at Royal LePage and Century 21, and now all of us, 3 local Calgary agents, Pablo in BC, we are all at EXP.
Yeah.
5th episode, we've actually never explained and talked about EXP to the viewers, so I'm sure
that's for another show.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that another time. But I was going to briefly ask because I don't know where you were before EXP. Remax. Okay.
too.
Mm-hmm.
You were at Remax as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8.5 years at Remax.
Wow.
Great company. Good company.
Yeah, Century 21. Nothing bad to say either about them.
Awesome. Well, I gotta run soon, so we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
No worries.
Ready to go.
Definitely. Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Well, right now, right here.
Excellent. Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know. I've got some social media. I don't know how to find it, so whatever. Just Google me or something. I'm sure you'll find me, Pablo Galvez.
We'll put the links in there.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll get his information if you want to reach out to him.
Yeah.
I'm old school, man. You email me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for coming on, Pablo. That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Great episode, and we'll see you guys next week then.
Yeah, we'll see everyone next week.
Perfect.
All right.
Good job, guys.
Thanks,
Right.
Excellent.